Well, I'm back a few minutes later than I thought. It's 3:13 here on the East Coast, 12:13 in California, and 8:13 in the UK. Thought I'd get another one in before it gets too late for my UK and European contingent here. Back to promote the virtual retreat this weekend and put another pitch out there for those looking for a life-changing experience over a weekend, just like the founders of our 12-step program did in a very short period of time. They took people through the steps and sent them on a life free of their addiction and struggle. I just put the link in the comment section for anybody who is interested in information about the virtual retreat. It's also in the header, the description, which will show up on Facebook and on at the different places where we have posted it. It really is an experience this weekend, folks. Just some of our dedicated volunteers are coming on to teach the steps, and they teach them the way we were taught by Clarence to Steve to Jack and Dale down to us. I remember when I first went to a retreat. Really, I remember when I was first taught about, the 12-step program, and I was handed a big book and told to read the first 164 pages. I mean, going to meetings and doing that is a wonderful thing to do, but I wasn't told that from the beginning. It's funny. It's not funny, just interesting that I wasn't told the way you get sober is go to meetings. I was told the way you got sober was do this program. Now, the meetings were a part of it. You attended these meetings as well for the fellowship and to learn and to be there. But the recovery came from me having to actually do the program. And I'm so grateful that I met somebody who said, here it is. And, I started to read it. Hi, Dee. Dee, we have the UK, Manchester, UK with us today. And I wish I knew you were around, Dee. I would send you the link and bring you on here with me for a minute to talk about these virtual retreats as you're a veteran of them. I wish, or I started to read the big book, and, being that I had no other experience with recovery at all, or any kind of a rehab or program or anything, it just made sense. I started reading it, I follow instructions, and there was instructions in the book, and my sponsor had gotten sober, and so had a lot of other people that I respected and saw that their lives changed around because they were around me. And I started reading it saying, yeah, this is me. And I was ready then. I was willing. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to get out of it. So it wasn't willpower, but what I was willing to do, I was down enough to know that I needed to do something. And these people showed me how to do it. And like Dee said, right, there's so many have recovered at the virtual retreats. They just have. We were so surprised. I mean, Dee and I think some of you that follow us have heard this before, but when the pandemic hit and we were looking at the prospect of all the retreats being canceled, for a year, our concern was, well, what will these people do? What will people do who are suffering from addiction and brokenness with not even an opportunity? And then we heard things like rehabs were being closed and halfway houses. They were literally going in and just sending people out home because they didn't want them in there with the COVID, and there was no place to go. We know now many of them never reopened. But anyway, what were we going to do? And this Zoom thing was relatively new, completely new to us. And so we said, well, let's figure it out. And we did. And it was really something that it launched, a whole bunch of virtual retreats that we ran that year. And now we just bring it down to 1 or 2 a year as we need it. And we think that this time of year, right after the first of the year, would be very hard to have an in-person retreat for many reasons, but not so hard to have a virtual retreat where people can do it right from their armchair at home. And like I was saying this morning, it's 2 or 3 hours, 3 hours Friday. It's like 6 hours Saturday and 3 hours Sunday. it won't take your whole day. It really won't. If I have to talk you into it that way, for a life-changing experience and come away and saying, wow, why didn't anybody ever show me this? And we want to show you how these guys did it. I want to make the point that I've been making regarding the spiritual principles behind the program, which you may or may not know are all out of the Bible. And they mainly come from the Sermon on the Mount, chapters 5, 6, and 7 in the book of Matthew, which is one of the Gospels, and 1 Corinthians, which is another book in James. But I was reading something the other day regarding the Sermon on the Mount, and somebody was the author was saying, describing what the Sermon on the Mount was. And he basically said what the Sermon on the Mount is several teachings a day that Jesus gave over a few days. They think he did it over 2 or 3 days is when he did this. That was them recorded. It's very interesting because that's how quickly we do these steps. So can something that could change your life, a significant set of principles and tools, or message be delivered to you and have an effect over a few days and have a permanent effect? Certainly it can. And we see it all the time, guys. It's not a one and done, guys. You're going to come and we're going to support you to teach you how to do your 10, 11, and 12. You're going to make mistakes, but you're going to grow. You can grow from a position of being recovered into a life like you never imagined. Fourth dimension of existence that they talk about in the book. Free from temptation and struggle, because it doesn't promise you that. But what it does promise you is happiness and a new found peace and serenity and freedom from a lot of the anxiety and worry that plagued us all while we were in our addiction. So came to believe recovery.org. You can go on and check out other retreats as well. If you're in California and want to come in person, middle of February, we have what we're calling a commuter retreat where it's in person, but you go home at night. Later in the month, we'll be later in the spring, we're going to be back in California, but in the central part, more closer to Sacramento. We're going to be in Missouri at the end of January. We're looking at how we can get into Kentucky sometime this spring, if that's possible. We will be back in Indiana again, hopefully, excuse me, in Florida, probably back in New York City at a shelter. And we're certainly going to be back working with those guys at the shelter in California. It's really exciting that I did get a contract for a venue in Malibu for late next year in December. And what we're hoping for is a cancellation on their schedule from another group, and we'll do it earlier. But right now we're looking at the weekend of the 8th, that first weekend in December, of being in Malibu at a retreat center that's up on a hill overlooking the water. And it's in a beautiful place, so that's not the reason to go. But the other thing is the serene surroundings. I was there, serene surroundings. I was there a few weeks ago while we were checking it out, and what a place to have a retreat. The grounds were so peaceful, and it's going to be really something. So one way or the other, we're going to do it there. Virtual retreat this weekend, guys. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got it set for your time zone, so don't worry about that. We do our Friday session twice to account for people in the United States and people in Europe and the UK. It all will work out. Go up, register, and we'll see you Friday at noon Central for our Recovery Live, which we're going to do right before the retreat. And hopefully we'll see you at the retreat over the weekend. All right, guys, I'll be back. Multiple messages coming at you. Have a good afternoon. Peace.